We're back. The two of us are back together to talk some football, talk some World Cup. How are you doing, Ed?
I'm doing good, Peter Brown. Just getting back into the groove of things, into this whole World Cup. This year has been kind of tough for me and my family, but we're sticking in there. And, soccer is one of the best things there is to keep your mind off of things. And I'm glad we got the World Cup going. But like I said, I wish I was like, I would, more like the past couple of World Cups, I used to see every game, and
Right.
unfortunately, I haven't been able to do it this year. So,
Yeah,
well,
I've seen pretty much every game. There's a few here or there that I might have napped during, or the Morocco game of all games. Funny story, real quick before we get too far. Funny story is the Morocco game. I was like, you know what? Portugal's going to win this. I have to. My lawn needs to get mowed. I really want to watch the afternoon game, so let me go mow the lawn. And I even told a neighbor, going, right now Portugal is probably beating up on Morocco. Oops. Maybe I should have watched that game, right?
and we're going to get to talk about that because I got some major criticisms on that game and what should have happened. But we'll cover all that in a bit, guys. We're just waiting for some people to show up and say hello to us before we start, naming names and taking
calling
names
people
or
out.
whatever. There we go.
Yep. So yeah, as always, if you're watching, check out the chat, say hello, get involved. Numbers are, it seems like our numbers are a little down when we're not talking Inter Miami. So, but that will be coming back soon, as December 21st, Ed, is the draft.
Right?
The draft. So just around the corner, we'll be getting right back into Inter Miami news and all that kind of fun stuff. But this has been a nice. The great thing about the World Cup right now is, quite often there's that break after the season where you don't have much to talk about, you don't have much football to watch, and this year, no problem there. Plenty to watch, and lots of fun, drama everywhere. So lots of good stuff.
And like the cover picture that we had today, it shows there's been some shenanigans going on. So we're definitely going to cover all that, and just waiting for more people to show up. But like you said, Peter, it's been kind of tough. A lot of people. There's so much soccer going on, so much content that people are just, I think, in chill mode right now. Plus, it's Sunday, and
exactly.
Catching up with Christmas shopping. Have you started Christmas shopping? I expect a good present, by the way.
Oh, okay. I'll get into that. But speaking of Christmas shopping, let me remind you of where you should go for your Christmas shopping, and that's Caneswear. And this is important because Caneswear is going to be next week. So this coming week, they're going to be having a 50% off sale.
Oh, goodness.
So they're going to be having several things 50% off. I was there yesterday. I went to Caneswear yesterday. I had to buy something. I can't say what because some people may watch this. But I had to buy a gift. And so I went to Caneswear and did my little bit of shopping. And while I was there, I'm talking to the team over there, and they're mentioning something about like the original Inter Miami black shirt. They still got some of those, and they're going to mark those down to like 65% off.
Wow.
Something crazy like that. They're going to make or more. They're just marking everything down. So what I would recommend you do is follow them on social media. Follow them on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, because they'll drop the news as far as what time, what day things are starting to go on sale. I don't have an exact date yet, but it's next week. So they're going to be the whole store is going to be basically 50% off. So lots of good stuff. If you're a Miami Hurricane fan, holy cow, is that store full of Miami Hurricane stuff. So lots of good stuff. That's where you should be doing your Christmas shopping, right there.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to. Dude, the same thing goes for the website.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I would assume so. I didn't ask that question, but I would assume. I mean, I had a lot to talk about, man. I had to, talk to them. So for one of my biggest complaints, I go there, they had other sports on the TV, but they didn't have soccer on the TV. I'm like, come on, guys, World Cup's going on, put it on the TV. What's going on here?
Right. What's the hubbub, bub?
But just me ribbing them a little bit. As always, if you want to give a call, call 786-474-4435. Join in the fun.
Join us in the chat. Live chat is going on right now.
We have done some of our Christmas shopping. My wife and the great thing now, Ed, is that my daughter now is 18, right? She has her own car. She's basically taken one of ours, but we could just send her out and just say, go buy stuff for your aunt. Go buy stuff for,
and she'll probably love doing that.
Oh, she loves it. She has her independence, and not us over her telling her what she should and should not get. So, we just say, this is for, my son's wife, go buy something you think she'll like, and she'll do a good job with it. So, it makes it easier for us too. So yeah, Christmas shopping in full swing.
That's one headache less for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to have that around. I don't have anybody in the house anymore, so, it's easier for the kids, man. You just buy them a rubber duck or a chicken or whatever, a Peppa Pig. That always comes in handy, or just a regular pig for that.
Full of pigs over there.
Man, we got all sorts of stuff, crazy, everything's. I got all sorts of. I got so many toys over here. It's like they live here, but they don't.
Uncle Ed's Playhouse.
Look at that. Exactly. And one of the. You see, we even have a Barbie here. Look at that.
What are you doing with that, Ed?
Oh, I'm doing nothing. The kids leave them here, so I'm not. Oh, look at you drinking cerveza. Must be nice.
My neighbor asked me to come over today, and he just gave me this is Sam Adams Winter. He did not like it, so he's like, "Here, take one. Tell me what you think." Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
So
everybody has different tastes and stuff.
Exactly.
Peter Brown, let's say hello to some of the people that are.
Why don't we do that?
Room.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see everybody that's on there right now, and I just logged in, so I probably lost a few people, but you could fill in on that. One World, One Goal is with us as always. How you doing? And thanks for the love that she's always sending me. Richard Greenberg. Well, it must be cold up there. Thanks.
Yeah. Man. I'm a little chilly here, Ed. See this? I'm a little chilly.
I see that. Yeah, but it's got to be really cold up there.
I was hanging out outside. I was hanging outside reading a couple of articles, and I got a little chilly. You know how I'm sure Richard's feeling the same thing. It's probably very, very similar up there. Here it's like a nice 74, and I'm a little chilly in the nice 74.
Yeah. Must be nice and cold up there in America's hat. But Jose Velasquez is also with us. How you doing, Jose? And one of Peter Brown's favorites, Esteban Dido.
Hey, he's been missing for a while, so good to see him back.
He's back. We also have good old Guyver is with us.
Oops, wrong one.
Wrong guy. Yeah, you jumped ahead. The Guyver, yeah. And of course Don Bear, who is our good friend Marco Donoso, he was in Qatar, man.
Okay, I was wondering, when you say Don Bear, I was wondering if there's any relationship to Cocaine Bear. Have you seen that movie trailer, Ed?
Oh yeah, well he's definitely big enough for like a bear. So
I was at the movies today. I actually went to go see Violent Nights.
Oh wow.
It's a Christmas movie, Ed.
Christmas? I had no idea.
Santa's a badass.
So he's literally bad.
No, he's a good guy, but he kicks some butt.
Oh well, that's cool. That's a cool angle for Santa Claus. I just saw Santa Claus yesterday. We went to this thing over here in with the children's.
Before the movie, they played the trailer for this movie, Cocaine Bear. Bear that's and apparently it's based on some true events. Now I'm sure some of it's got to be exaggerated, but this bear eats a whole big brick of cocaine and then goes and kills people, and he's just a bear out of control. like just like Don Bear.
Wow, yeah, those Dombers definitely like that. He was, like I said, he was up there in Qatar, so it must be cool.
Yeah, and Richard is saying his weather sounds very similar to ours. It's freezing and snowing today in Canada.
And it's crazy because that's happening here today. You can see in our
Oh, yeah.
background, we're actually
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Qatar, and it snows there too.
Does it snow in Qatar?
No, hell no, dude.
Okay, I didn't think so. I
Middle
don't know.
East.
What do I know?
It's hot. It's hot as hell right now. It's hot, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's like winter for them or something.
Yeah, it is hot here in Qatar. Yeah. What am I talking about? Let me take this off.
Yeah, it's just so cold inside the stadium. You know, they're always saying that. I don't know if you've seen like Fernando Fiore. He's always tweeting it's cold in there. He's wearing a jacket because apparently the AC in those things are like pumped up, nice and cold, nice and crispy.
They promised that it would be, but the thing is, I think it's AC'd for the fans, but not necessarily on the field where the players are.
On the field, I think it's a little warmer, but it's the least they could do. So yeah, the Cocaine Bear, huh, man?
I don't think it's a movie for me. I don't think I'll go see that one, but Violent Nights, I will tell you, you want to get in the Christmas spirit, go see that one. Santa Claus is drunk and he kicks some butt and he's pissed off.
But that's cool. And we should probably get some guests of some of our friends that have been in Qatar, and they could tell us about the whole experience of how that was. But it must have been cool. Hopefully, it wasn't too too much of a culture shock. There's a couple things. Some people kind of went overboard. As a matter of fact, while I'm bringing that up, we had Grant Wall had passed away over there. And it's funny because we had reached out to him years ago when we were doing the Ultras Alive podcast. I reached out to him, and we just couldn't. He was just so busy all the time. We couldn't arrange for him to do an interview with us. And we just, we were playing tag for a while, and then we never got around to it. But he would have been a great guest. And there's Grant Wall, and with the controversial shirt that he wore over there. And we had actually talked about it a few shows ago.
You're right, exactly. Gave him a little bit of a hard time for breaking the rules.
Yeah, because we all know that he we know the rules of where he went, and everybody knew the rules, and you go over there and you break them. Well, don't tell us we told you so, but unfortunately,
it was interesting because the reports are like he was in and out of like, I don't know, urgent care or whatever, a doctor for thought he had bronchitis or something.
Yeah,
and then but now I think I saw that they thought it was like cardiac arrest because he just kind of went down around all the other reporters. But then somebody shared this on social media. I don't know any truth to it or whatever, but there was some tweet or something that his brother did. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Is that legit? Is that really his brother? Do we know that?
Yeah. He apparently it was his brother, and he had told some people that he had received some death threats. More not because of the shirt, but because he did a little piece. I think I sent it to you in our WhatsApp group, where he was talking about how the stadium was built, human rights abuses and stuff like that.
Right.
So he was one of those guys that was always talking about things like that. He was don't want to say he was a goody two shoe, but he was definitely involved in trying to do the right thing, and one of those things was this. He was talking about that, and it's kind of he received some apparently death threats, and so that's why his brother's thinking maybe there was some foul play.
Right, and that's what the tweet from the brother says. I don't believe it was natural causes. So
it's kind of weird because if you think about it, his wife, works with, she's a doctor, and he looks like he was in pretty good shape.
Right.
No. So out of the blue, I mean, these things happen. You could get a heart attack just out of the blue. So,
it just seems awful suspicious after, he He wore the shirt. Again, that's probably not where the issue would have been. It's that thing you wrote where the guy he's talking to some official, Qatari official, and the guy's like, "Why are you asking me these questions now? About deaths. Why are you asking me about worker deaths when we got these games going on?" It's like, don't ask me these questions now.
Right.
But I've always liked Grant Wall's reporting. He was always entertaining. He's done several like studio shows for World Cups where he's in there discussing and breaking things down a little bit and giving thoughts and opinions. Always liked him. I actually have his book that he wrote about David Beckham, The Beckham Rule. Right. I own that book. I should have grabbed that for show and tell tonight.
Yeah, look at you. Yeah, because I got all sorts of gags and stuff. You got nothing to prove. Nothing
I didn't think about it till just now. I hear Richard Greenberg saying something similar. I loved his book about David Beckham, Journey to MLS, The Beckham Experience. Yeah, I called it The Beckham Rule. It's The Beckham Experience. That's it.
Right. And I remember he even Beckham had said something. He kind of criticized the book a little bit because I think he was being a little harsh, but I don't remember the exact.
I don't remember. I'd have to read the book again. I read it when it was new. I don't remember too much in it being harsh. It just kind of laid out. A lot of what the book was not interviewing Beckham. It was interviewing the people around him and their thoughts on the whole situation and what it was like being a teammate of his and things like that. So. Esteban Dito is saying Grant Wall had the rebel status in him. He was never the sheep type and walked to the beat of his own drum. So, yeah, sad to the guy's young. I don't know how old he was exactly, but he sure looks young in that picture.
48, I think, something like that.
Okay. Younger than me.
Younger than you and I, Peter Brown. And so that's why it's a little, it's a little weird. And plus his wife is a doctor. And, you just expect them. I've seen, pictures of them going out. They look like they're in great shape. He looked in great shape.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to believe that, he would have had, some type of health issue. He did mention, though, that he kind of was feeling under the weather. They thought
bronchitis
it was a cold or something. Right. So, but could that, be a cause of death? Well, I don't know, man. They haven't really, 47, look at that.
Yeah,
they haven't really said
no, not yet,
the cause of death. So I think that's a little weird that they haven't done that. I'm sure his wife's going to get down to the bottom of it once she sees him, his body, and they do some investigations and actually tell us what the cause of death was.
Right. Yeah, I think what I read is what they're thinking is cardiac arrest, but yeah, if he's been healthy, what caused that? So I don't know.
So enough about sad things, Peter Brown. Let's get to the nitty gritty, to the good stuff, the soccer games. And where do you want to start? Let's start.
I don't know. I'll tell you what the big story in my house was the Brazil game.
Of course.
Yeah, that game was the big one in my house. Wife. Very upset, yelling and screaming at the TV. Brazil. And the way I looked at that game is it felt like Brazil took that game too casually. They just felt like they were just like there was no urgency whatsoever in that game. And it's just like, yeah,
too
we're just
confident?
getting. Yeah, maybe. Like, even when they're tied, though, there's just no urgency. It's just like, we'll play the way we play. It'll come type of thing.
Right.
And
it never came.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But and then what I had a problem with Neymar taking the last penalty, or because he was last, he didn't get a chance to take it. Don't you want what's supposed to be your best player to take the first penalty to set the standard?
Yeah. I'm with you on that. You definitely want your better players, to score. They got the most experience, and they'll make the rest of the team feel more confident once they score. I don't agree with leaving him last. That was, I think, a big mistake. And there's been a lot of mistakes, I think, by the coaches in this, in these quarterfinals. things that that should have happened that didn't happen. That's one of them, Peter. You don't put the guy last.
Yeah, it was. So the coach has already quit. So who knows what's next for Brazil? They've gone over 20 years without winning
this
one.
happens to Brazil a lot because I think they're overconfident. This team should have gone to the final because they are the best in South America. They hadn't lost in God knows how long, and it's just it's just hard to believe that they're out. That the favorite team is out.
But that's been the case with a lot of this tournament. Germany going out early, Spain going out. So it's like that. It seems to be the year of the upset.
But talk about upsets, and I hate to break down the Brazilian thing. Well, before we do, Croatia, I think they played a great game. They were all over. Good for Luka Modric. I think he's just a great player that deserves to be where he's at. There were rumors of him coming to Miami. I would love to see that happen. I don't know if it's still plausible, but if he would come, he would be probably taking over Pozuelo's position. We haven't heard if Pozuelo's coming back yet. I assume that that's going to happen, that he's coming back, but we really don't know. But if there was any player who would I'd love to not to take over that position, it would be Luka Modric. I think he's just that good. He's 37, and he's still playing incredible.
Something like that, yeah.
I'd take him with my eyes closed as a DP. Yeah, no problem. Even though he's old.
And yeah, I'm always complaining about old people, but there are those few. That you just go with it.
Yeah, and that's just one of them. The Czech goalkeeper was I'm not Czech. The Croatian goalkeeper was incredible.
He was good.
He was just blocking everything left and right, and the dude was a machine, and probably the best. I would dare say the best goalkeeper that I've seen in this World Cup tournament so far. The World Cup isn't over yet, and there's a lot of the Moroccan goalkeepers also pretty good. So I think it's between those two as to who's going to win the title of best goalkeeper. But I just thought he was on top of everything, and he's one of the reasons why they've gone this far, because it looks like Croatia's going to go through. I wouldn't be surprised if the next game would go down to the penalties as well. Because that's the way. They just hold on. They're going to play against Argentina, and Argentina. If it goes down to ties, I would say Croatia could probably take it. They're getting this far mostly because they're going to penalties.
Yeah, so many games going to penalties. It's pretty crazy how many have gone to PKs.
And it's because I think the level of all these teams are just about equal. And if you want, we can talk about Morocco, since we're talking about great goalkeepers and stuff. The Moroccans are just been incredible. As far as they've gone, the Cinderella story. I would not mind if they win the whole thing, because that would it takes us out of the whole norm. The whole, we're used to seeing the same European teams, the same South American teams winning all the time. This would be incredible if an African team could win a World Cup.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm going to drive my wife to the dentist tomorrow. She has some surgery type stuff she has to get done, so she's going to get probably knocked out, so I need to drive her. Our dentist is Moroccan, so I am looking forward to seeing the dentist. Maybe the appointment's not with me, but hopefully I'll get to see her. She's been our dentist for 19 years maybe, and she's Moroccan, and so the other day she was my wife went to the dentist first before this appointment, and she was wearing her Moroccan jersey while she's working on people's teeth, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a great story. I mean, the first African team I was just reading an article in The Athletic just talking about how everybody is cheering for Morocco at this point. Everybody loves the underdog, unless you're like French right now. You're looking at that upcoming game and you're saying, you're cool with the French losing because
Oh yeah, yeah. I
although
think it,
although to me this World Cup, the French have been the most fun to watch. They've been the best team in my opinion from what I've seen. Granted, I'm
but
no analyst.
let's not get ahead of ourselves, Peter. We're still talking about Morocco here, and they played Portugal. And you said you were cutting the lawn because
Yeah. They did play Portugal, but I'm just getting ahead because they're playing France next. But yes,
okay.
I decided Portugal Morocco game. It was Saturday morning, and my lawn needed to get cut, and so I really was looking forward to that second game, that Argentina game. So that was my priority: is let's get the work done so I can watch the Argentina game. And the whole time, I even was talking to a neighbor saying, Portugal's probably beating up on Morocco. I'm not saying that Portugal is any kind of world beater. I just expected them to beat Morocco. I think everybody probably did, but whoops.
Totally. It just disappeared. That was kind of cool. You said,
Phew.
it just didn't. But yeah, that's one of the things I was telling you about the coaches. He got reamed for not starting Ronaldo. It worked
I know.
out
What's up with that?
It worked out in the last game because the guy that replaced him, I think his Ramos was his last. I forget his last name. He scored a hat trick. So going into this game, he was pretty confident, I guess, and he said, "Well, let's put this guy back in there," and he didn't do nothing in this game. And so a lot of people are criticizing him because they're thinking, if Ronaldo would have been there since the beginning, things could have been different. You had more time to create things. He's the type of player that would change a game, just with his presence, because if he gets down to it, he could score the goal by himself. He's just one of those players. You were going to say something.
Yeah, so what is it with him getting benched? What's the deal there? Is it, Ronaldo, it's been a tumultuous year for him. His dealings with Manchester United, rumors of him getting a $250 million a year a contract with some Saudi Arabian club, which to me, you don't, at least I don't know. But my thoughts are you don't make those kind of negotiations during the World Cup. You don't want it to come out during the World Cup. You want everybody to think you're focused on this tournament. You'll deal with that stuff after the tournament. But I'm wondering, why did he get benched? What is it?
A lot may have to do with that
that's what I was thinking.
Negotiating.
Not focused on the games at hand.
And they took him out, early in the second half and the game right before.
Right.
So I think he showed discontent with that. And, and I think, the coach said, "Oh, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson." And so
wrong tournament. Play your best players. Forget about teaching lessons in the World Cup.
Yes.
That's dumb.
I'm the same way. So I'm sure he's going to lose his job because, he didn't start the best, one of the best players in the world, and it was his last chance to break, I think, the record. There was some record he wanted to break, his last chance for a World Cup. So, dude's heartbroken, came in the second half, didn't have, I think, enough time to create the opportunities for them to tie the game. I think that was the idea for him to get in there and hopefully score a goal. Morocco was just, and I agree with Guy. You can't underestimate Morocco. They've been playing incredible, great team in the back, especially, and don't underestimate them. And now we can talk about France, Peter, because those are the guys that are coming up, and I think everybody wants France out. France is playing incredible soccer. Considering they're losing. They don't have Benzema. They don't have Pogba. There's a number of players who would be automatic starters with this team. So they're not at full strength, and yet they're contenders to repeat in this World Cup. Which it just tells you the level of soccer that this team has. With those players around, I think they would have been unstoppable.
So you're going for Morocco. You're basically was saying, how could anybody cheer for France, right? Because, you know.
I'm going for Morocco. Yeah.
So, but how do I've been enjoying France this entire tournament, and they've been the most fun to watch. I mean, Mbappe is, even in that game. Now, this last game, he didn't score, but you know, when France was playing England, but I mean, there was one point, I don't remember. I think it was the second half. I'm not sure. But he was going down the side, and you know, he's kind of cutting across the field or whatever. And that at some point, he just decided to turn on the afterburners and just blazing speed. And it didn't turn into a goal or anything like that. But I mean, he's such a good, fun player to watch. Griezmann has been a lot of fun to watch. What is it, Giroud? You know, he seems like the old man up there, but he's doing it. It's you know, it's going to be hard to not cheer for France. I mean, they're just so much fun to watch.
Yeah, well, it could be that, you know, that game's going to be, you know, it could be all France for all we know. But I think everybody's in love with Morocco. They just want them to go farther. You know,
I know.
And this game that they played against England, let's talk about that game, Peter. I watched it on and off, but from what I saw, England, I think, in my opinion, they played better. They had more shots, more opportunities to win, you know, but they just, you know, they couldn't capitalize in that missed penalty, Peter. You saw that?
Yeah, I was looking to see if I grabbed an image for that, but I didn't. I thought I did.
Oh,
but
man, that one hurt.
Harry Kane.
I was like, cool. Harry Kane's gonna break a record, I think, for the most goals for England or something like that. You know, if he would have scored it, you know, you expected him to score. He didn't score. That thing went to orbit. And it's just, you know, heartbreaking because the English, they keep coming. Every World Cup is like the same thing. You know, they keep coming up short.
I agree with Guyver. What he says here is France just needs their defense to not make stupid actions like with England. Because I think, if I remember correctly, what led to that penalty was a French guy just thinking he's an NFL player and just like slamming him for no reason. It didn't need to do it.
Because the ball was actually going the other way, and the player was going towards his left.
He didn't even look at the ball.
Touch him.
He didn't have to touch him. He didn't even try to pretend like he's playing the ball. He just bulldozed the guy. You know, shoved. I mean, if I remember, it was like a forearm in the back or something like that.
Yeah.
But
unnecessary,
dumb mistakes because it didn't have to be that hard for them. And luckily, but man, you got to sit there and live with that. How long is that going to haunt Harry Kane now?
And it's just like I tell you, it happens at every English World Cup. There's always one of them that makes a mistake, and they're always out. You know, this team looked pretty good. I thought, you know, I was actually rooting for England because I was like, you know, I didn't want France to win another World Cup, in a row. So, but you know, it is what it is. Tough for these teams. You know, this is a tough World Cup, and I think it's going to come down to we still got to talk about Argentina.
Well, but it's funny is with that penalty, it is funny because the whole time, just when he's getting ready to take the penalty, the announcers are like, you know, oh, he's a penalty specialist, he's a PK specialist, and all this kind of stuff, and just how great he is, and then, I mean, the amount of pressure.
Effects. Don't we have one of those special effects sounds? You know. Come on, Peter. You should have been ready with that one. No, not that one. That's too positive. We need something a little more, you know. Well, that'll work.
I don't have a pom pom pom.
Yeah, we need. We used to have more background. Sounds.
Well, these are the ones that just come with the program. Other than
you're gonna have to download some. Man.
Well, the only one I've downloaded is this one, and it doesn't apply. But
this is a magisterial goal of the highest order.
That's the only one I've downloaded.
Good old Ray Hudson. Well, you know, we were talking earlier. If you guys missed it, we were talking about Grant Wall. How we almost had him as a guest back when we were doing the Ultras Alive podcast. Which reminds me, Peter, we had so many cool. Interviews back then, that we had talked about putting him on Futbol Miami TV as just so you could at least listen to them. And I think once we get off the show, let's talk about doing that again, because I think there's a lot of Ray Hudson was one of the people that we interviewed. I think a couple of times.
Yeah, I'd have to.
Those were great shows.
I have to pay for the service that we used to use for at least a month to get the access to those. I think I can get access to them, but I would have to pay for the service. Doesn't mean we can't do it.
Because it'd be kind of cool, because not only does it add content to our YouTube page.
No, but they're good interviews.
They're good interviews, and a lot of them are relevant U.S. Men's national team players and stuff like that. That some people can't access anymore. It would be cool for them to be able to access it here. So, but let's talk about. We were talking a little bit about the English, but now let's talk about the reason why we've got that picture, that cover photo of all the drama for your mama. Look at that, Argentina making fun of the Netherlands.
Taunting. Yeah. But yeah, the photo that I used for the thumbnail was the actual fight, but which was exciting. I love that stuff. I know that all the people, all the real pundits, all the people that try to pretend like they're all better than everybody else will sit there and say, "Oh, that's ridiculous. It's bad for the sport, and where's the sportsmanship and all that." Screw all that. That was exciting, fun to watch. Argentinian player, for some stupid reason, blast the ball at the Dutch bench. I mean, why did he even do that? I mean, it was stupid.
Out of frustration, I think.
But he can only be frustrated at himself. He's the one that did fouled the player.
But if you saw, when he kicked the ball, there was nobody near.
Nobody. No threat whatsoever. It's just the idea. And
so everybody just came out,
cleared the bench,
wanting for a fight. Yeah. And nobody got a yellow card or anything, did they?
But did you notice, and this happens in a lot of sports, everybody talks big, they all get in each other's face, not one of them throws a punch. Because they know better. They know they could probably get away with a little pushing and shoving. I think I saw one guy get it like this on his neck.
Yeah.
But that was as far as it went. But nobody threw a punch. I it's like you want to be all mad at each other. Man up, throw a punch. Let's see what happens
right?
then. I mean, they'll be thrown out.
What's a little yellow and red card? Yeah,
that would be a red card for sure. That would be red for sure. But
one of the things that I mentioned to you, Peter, and there's a lot of controversy. People started talking bad about Argentina because their own sportsmanlike behavior. There's a picture where what's his name? Messi does a little mouse ear. It's called the topollillo. They call that. There you go. And that's because Riquelme, Van Gaal was the coach. They say he was against South American players. Riquelme being one of the, Ray Hudson's favorite playmakers in Argentinian history. The guy was great, but Van Gaal benched him, and there were a number of other players like Falcao who he sent to the lower divisions actually to play in the lower divisions. So he was one of those guys that for some reason. They feel that any player that was playing under him that was South American, he would be against them for some reason. So this is reminiscent of what Riquelme had once done to Van Gaal. He's doing the topollillo ears. You know who topollillo is? He's a little mouse.
No, I didn't know that. I mean, I saw him do this, but Van Gaal likes to talk though, because he was talking trash against United States a little bit as well. After our game with him, I mean, he likes to think he's the most elite. The way he's like, he's the oldest coach in the tournament. So he's the most prestigious or whatever. I mean, in his own mind, at least. But right. I mean, he likes it just. He was saying something about the U.S. We didn't, change our tactics or whatever, and he did. So he's better than we are, and so he's got that attitude a little bit.
So and so obviously there was some everybody messes around. I guess it's not the first time that teams have made fun of other teams. I sent you a video. Fernando Fiora had sent a video of after they were interviewing a German player after I think Spain had beaten Germany or something like that, and right in the middle of the interview, they came out. The Spanish players came out, and right behind him, they were mocking him or whatever. And there you go.
Hang on a second. Let me see if I can get this in here.
They were, yeah. See, Peter can. That's the one I'm talking about. There's the German player who's getting interviewed. Oh, that was in the Euro. Look at that, Euro 2008. But that's just an example of the type of competitive mocking, I guess you could say, that they do when they beat them. When there's teams that get beaten, and it's not the first time. There was, I think, I also sent you another picture of an example where teams are making fun of each other, and it's part of the game. Do you want them to be sanctioned because of these things? I think it's something that needs to be. If they want to do that, they should prevent this from happening. There you go. That's an example right there. Was that the one on the bottom?
Yeah, the video is causing me problems, but
gotcha. But there's another example. See how were those the English, or who were the guys that are making fun of the other team?
It looks like the English. Against who?
I can't tell who they were playing against, but yeah, it's not the first time that it's happened. So, it doesn't need to be prevented. I think they should tell the teams before, don't do that. It's unsportsmanlike or whatever, and just try to nip it before it actually happens.
I'd say
Peter's
what can we do to encourage it?
Because it makes better
it's
photo
more
opportunities.
drama, it's more excitement. One World, One Goal mentioned a few minutes ago. We like when a hockey game breaks out into a soccer match. So often, we criticize athletes for showing emotion, but then we criticize them for not showing emotion, for being boring in interviews and things like that. But then when someone says something or does something, we criticize them for doing it. We need some entertainment in our sports entertainment. So let them get riled up. I want my team to be riled up in this big tournament, and I want them to be mad. I want them to be happy. You don't want so much poor. I'm not necessarily encouraging a ton of poor sportsmanship, but I mean, there's some times where it's called for, and I'm okay with it. And so why not? The Dutch coach running his mouth. So, Argentina, fires back. But can this become a distraction, though? Does this potentially become a distraction where Argentina is now getting a little too full of themselves, or the antics become more important than the game? At least, I mean, that's the only thing that I guess you got to worry about is where's the line? I mean, the focus on the match. I mean, because Argentina is not, in my opinion, they haven't looked great this World Cup. I mean, they've put together some good performances, but they had a slow start, and they also didn't. They seemed to, in that game, just kind of play their own game. They had more urgency than Brazil did, but right. Both games ended the same way in the PKs.
Right. And, I think the Argentinians could have put it away, but they haven't been that impressive either. I kind of would want Argentina to win only because of Messi, because I think he's just, that would be the final, thing that he does before he comes to Major League Soccer. And I'm still crossing my fingers that happens, because if he comes to Miami, because now he probably sees that Saudi Arabia has spent so much money on Ronaldo. Well,
they got more.
He might.
They got more money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They might want a rival team might want to get him over there, and that would suck for us.
My biggest concern with Messi is PSG. Is PSG re-signing him and convincing him, hey, Champions League, the Qatari prince or whatever, they're the ones that own PSG, right? So,
right.
So they got money. As we could see in this World Cup, they spent some $200 billion on stadiums that are going to be turned into malls or torn down. I mean, they spent all this money on a stadium that's considered temporary. They got the money,
Yeah.
so that's my biggest concern is that PSG still has him in their plans, especially if he plays really, really well in these last 2 games. Because no matter what, he'll have 2 games, whether it's the final or the Losers Cup, right? So,
I'm hoping Messi decides he just wants to chill, help make Major League Soccer stronger. I see One World One Goes talking that the Saudi deal hasn't been signed yet, which I would imagine.
Well, it's not official, at least.
Right. It's a lot of money, if Major League Soccer could lure him in some team, because I doubt, Major League Soccer is going to let Cristiano Ronaldo be on the same Inter Miami team. We would be loaded, and that's we had a show we talked about. Forget about our defense. We don't need a defense because our forwards would be that impressive if Messi and hypothetically Cristiano Ronaldo would be on the same team. That would be crazy. High scoring games.
Yeah, the words we hear though is our ownership is not interested in Ronaldo, and somebody made a comment in the chat. I didn't put it up. I don't know where it is now about Ronaldo, that he is not good in the locker room. He's more of a distraction than he is a positive, and not so. That's not speaking specifically about Inter Miami, but just him as a teammate in general. So that's not necessarily what you want to bring into your MLS squad, because someone like him, he potentially could come in here and the talent is not to his level. Then he becomes more of a prima donna, more of a destructive force in the locker room.
Unless he's a Zlatan type, that if he could, I think he
put him on your shoulder and carry him.
Yeah, if he comes here with the attitude that Messi might do the same thing, that he's here to make the people around him better, then he'll excel, and right now he's at the end of his career, and he probably wants a better future for his kids, and he's got like a whole bunch of kids.
And you and I think we're chatting about that, and you were a little upset that he wasn't that Ronaldo wasn't even trying MLS to like make a name for himself. He's already got a name, but now you become like a legend where you're taking a league on your shoulders, not just a team. You're putting the league on your shoulders and taking that league potentially to the next level. I think that's where you were kind of going with it. And my reaction was, how do you say no to $250 million a year for a 2.5-year deal? How do you say no to that? You could tell me all day he doesn't need the money. I don't care if you've got, if you've got, Amazon money, Apple money, right? You always want more, and it's hard to say no to $250 million a year.
Yeah, it is very hard. But if
I don't blame him if he takes it. I don't blame him.
I would hope that maybe he'd see that more of his legacy than of the money he's going to take. Because realistically, if he goes to Saudi Arabia, that's it. I don't think that league, even if he goes there, I don't think he's going to make that league any better than it is right now, But with here in the United States, it's different. I think if they create, like a rivalry with, I don't know, they put him in the Galaxy or
right,
or one of those teams, or maybe even New York, so you can play Messi more often.
Right.
That would be great for the league.
Yeah, with One World, One Goal, I guess, disagreeing with us, saying no. Coach Neville said he'd love to have him as a player. He's a great player, whatever. But that's not what we're hearing from the ownership. I don't care about Coach Neville here. This is from what we've heard about. Moss is not interested in Neville. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, in Ronaldo.
Cristiano.
Right. So that's what we've heard. That's all I can tell you. But yes, it would be fun to have them on the same team, or even in the same league. They've been rivals, kind of always competing against each other. It would, but the thing, we've always kind of talked about who would you rather have, Messi or Ronaldo. I don't know. I get the feeling that Messi is a little more humble. And I don't know the guy. I don't even understand him when he does interviews because I don't speak Spanish. But But just he comes across to me at least a little more humble, and I say more humble. I'm not saying he's super humble because I mean when you're at that level, you got an ego. I mean the guy wears gold boots out on the field. Right. I mean you notice his shoes that he's wearing have got gold on them. I mean that's ego right there. But
but he does seem more down to earth. I mean look
seems
at
like it
every time you're around Beckham and he dude he's Beckham. Yet he's so down to earth and always willing to take pictures with everybody. Ronaldo's been criticized because sometimes he doesn't, if he's not in the mood, he won't take pictures with people. But yeah, on the same token, he's also been known to give money to people that are in need. There's a lot of stories of the things that he does. He goes out of his way with the kids, take pictures with the kids sometimes. So we only hear the bad stuff, but you don't hear the bad stuff about Messi as much as you do about Ronaldo.
Right. And we were talking about Ronaldo potentially going to say somebody like a Galaxy. Richard Greenberg brings up something you and I haven't talked about. Galaxy are cheaters, just like Miami. We're not the only ones, Ed.
Richard, you're right. We are cheaters. They're cheaters like we are. And that's the thing. Yeah, Galaxy, they got caught recently. I forgot who the player was, Peter. Do you remember?
I've got the article in front of me here. I'm pulling it up, but I was more focused on. It was on Pavon, Christian Pavon. Mm-hmm. But they sanctions were for the 2019 season. They're fined $1 million. The sanctions include $1 million fine and a $1 million loss of future general allocation money. So a $2 million sanction, close to what we got sanctioned, right? Ours was 2 point something, right? And so that's GAM money, so future GAM money, and then also Chris Klein is suspended through the end of 2023.
Oh wow!
Transfer window. So he's suspended through the 2023 up to the transfer window 2023. So that's the whole season.
Wow.
So
all right, yeah.
Yeah, and One World One Goal saying Klein is a good dude though, friend of ours that is running a Galaxy OL. MLS getting serious now. Yeah, now they're not. Now it's cheating. Now it's and LA Galaxy are the ones that you've always heard historically are known for bending, breaking, whatever, stretching, creating new rules.
Right.
Beckham.
Right. And yeah, it's like probably one of those things where they didn't run it by the league, and the league just said, well, we'll work with you guys if you want, but if you don't tell the league. Then
that's what I've always said.
That's what happened. That's
the league will help you cheat as long as the league is in on it.
Well, look at LAFC, man. Like they
right.
Team. How in tarnations do they not? How can they afford so many great players?
But some people are actually commenting that look in the future for maybe LAFC to have a similar sanction. That may, it takes a while. I mean, here it is. They're sanctioning the Galaxy from something they did in 2019. When was our mistake? 2019? Or no, we weren't playing in 20. Ours was in 2020. Because we weren't playing in 2019. Mm-hmm. So, it's taken them a while to do their research and find out about this stuff. So
their due diligence, Peter Brown.
Exactly, and it might take a year or two for them to do that due diligence for LAFC. How do you get Gareth Bale as a TAM player?
That's a little fishy. If you ask Uncle Ed, but it's bound to happen. So going back to all these players, all the things that can happen for Inter Miami, we're still in the hole right now. As far as sanctions go. Mm-hmm. So we could get a Messi. We could get a Ronaldo. How many DP spots do we have? We need to get rid of Pizarro still.
We got to get rid of Pizarro. You got Campana. Campana's taking up a young DP, which is not a U22 initiative. That's a young DP. So a young DP is still one of your 3 DPs. It's just a smaller cap hit. So one DP is gone. Pizarro is using the other DP. So we got to get rid of him. They could buy out the contract. It's easy. They just have to be willing to eat it. And they did it.
I think what they need to do is somehow get rid of Pizarro. They sell him even if it's for $10. They should do it.
But does anybody want him right now?
Yeah, apparently they're in talks with America. Yeah, which is a pretty good team in Mexico. Hopefully, if anything, like you say, buy the guy out, let him go to America or wherever the hell he wants to go, and let's get that second DP spot so we can get a great player.
Because he's owed the money. So you said if America bought him for like $10, he's still owed money. We got to buy out his contract then. They still have to use that option. And you're allowed to use one per year. You're allowed to buy out one contract per year. So it has to be the inevitable decision. But those are those things, they don't even tell you they're doing it. They never announced that they bought out Matuidi's contract. You just kind of figured it out. And so I don't know if they announce that they're bought out Pizarro. They'll just say, Pizarro's gone,
Right.
He's moved on.
And do we get Pozuelo back? Does he occupy a DP spot? I'm hoping they can negotiate and get him on something lower. But I don't know.
Well, so, yeah, that's the thing. So we were talking about getting Messi, or somebody in that position in the summer, right? Who would occupy that third DP? Oh, they've also talked about getting what's his name, the Spanish player. Busquets.
Busquets, who actually played a good World Cup.
He did play a good World Cup. I focused on him quite a bit because I knew he was an Inter Miami target or rumor. So that's your three DPs potentially. There's no space for Pozuelo. You have to be able to then sell Pozuelo on the idea of taking a TAM deal and saying you're going to get to play with Messi.
Yep, that's what they have to do with a lot of players. Tell them
that's the selling point.
Take the pay cut.
Do you want to play with Messi? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, take the pay cut. If the answer is no, you don't give a damn, then go somewhere else. That's if they're confident enough that they're getting Messi. If for whatever reason, here's the thing: is they got to make that decision soon, though. So if by early February, because the season starts in February, so by early February or even maybe late January, you have to make up your mind because Pozuelo needs that contract. So you're either signing him to a DP or you've convinced him. And if you signed him to a DP, then you have to, then it's between a Messi possibly or Busquets.
So it's going to be interesting to see what we get. Because I'd love to see Pozuelo back. I think he did a great job right there.
I want him back.
And I think him and Messi would be incredible. Not to mention Campana would learn so much from both of those players. If we can get Busquets also, I think that would be somebody pretty strong in the back towards the defensive midfielder. But we got players that play that position, Peter. And do we keep them? Do we keep Gregory, or does he play more like Mota would play? I think you'd probably take Gregory, no? Or Mota.
Mota goes to the bench, and you put Gregory, and you tell Gregory and Busquets figure it out. Cover for each other. Gregory, you're going to do more of the running than for the Busquets. Do all the dirty work, and so he falls into more of a Mata role, but not much different than what he's currently doing. So
I think that would make us more solid in the back. I think we'd still need some help back there. There's talk that LGP might come back.
I didn't hear that, but I do know he's still. That's the thing that blows me away is when I look at the salary. When I look up last year's salary, all the players that are no longer with the team, but we're still paying for them. LGP is one of those. He is still got a salary hit on our payroll, and it's a large one. I don't have it up right now, but I think we talked about it in one of the last two shows, and it's a fairly large hit that we're still paying for. and he's not even with us. So that's that whole loan garbage that happens,
Right, and it looks like River Plate isn't going to keep him. I think he was benched a lot. It wasn't like with the other player Figal that was playing with Boca Juniors. He was a starter automatically. So LGP wasn't. He played on and off. He wasn't as frequent, and it looks like River Plate isn't going to take him. So there's another player. We either deal him or we keep him. There's been a lot of people saying that they feel that he's solid enough. I think, Franco Panizo had mentioned that in the chat room that where he's at, and he's a player that maybe they consider keeping. I think he was solid when he played with us. One of the players that I think were solid, but then. Do we keep low? Who would be the other players that we would keep back there that would be good enough for you? That was a problem that we had back in the last season.
Yeah, no, they've got to go after somebody. As much as I like Lowe, and I was one of his biggest defenders all year, we need to improve. And so they need to bring somebody in, whether that's Aaron Long that's been mentioned. New York Red Bull player. We talked about him, I think, last week. They've got to bring somebody in. And if it's LGP bringing him back, whatever, I'm not opposed to that. I think it was good. He just made some, boneheaded mistakes sometimes. But so did everybody on those seasons. So, Anyways, Ed, I think we've got so much more Inter Miami stuff to talk about, and we've got upcoming shows where we could do that. But we're at the end of the show. And I need to know, we've got the
finals
couple of games coming up here.
And Sunday there's a couple of games. Yeah, we're definitely going to cover. We've got Argentina versus Croatia, France versus Morocco, and
who do you have? Who do you have, Ed?
I am going with Argentina over Croatia. If they score during the game, I think
1-0.
They could take them. Yeah, I think a 1-0 would be, with a Messi goal or something.
Croatia's not going to be easy to beat, but I agree
not
with
easy.
that.
They got a hell of a goalkeeper, I think. But if they get a tie, Croatia's going to beat them.
All right, and then I know you're rooting for Morocco, but do you think?
Yes, I am.
Do you think they will actually beat them? Would you put your money and gamble on that?
I want Morocco to win more than anything, but I think France will probably take that, in regulation time. Another 1-0 game, I think, because Morocco's, if anything, they've showed they've been great defensively. They're very organized.
Right.
I think it's going to be tough for France to get through them, but I think if Mbappe is going to do something crazy,
sure,
and he's going to score. So I think
even if he doesn't
that's
score,
going to be the final.
Yeah, even if he doesn't score, he's so dangerous that he's opening up other opportunities for other players. I think it would be so much fun to see France versus Croatia, but I think the final is going to be Argentina versus France, and France might win it all again. But we'll see. We'll have to see.
But I'm in that final. I'm going to go with Argentina.
See, I'm not allowed to cheer for Argentina in this house. I got in trouble for it already once because, Argentina is arch rivals with Brazil. And the way we've talked about it is it's like my wife was like almost a little torn. Like, well, should I cheer for Argentina even though they're our rivals? Now that they're out, they're still South America. I said, no, it's like Mexico in the U.S. I don't care if Mexico was still in. I want them to lose no matter what.
All right.
So that's how she needs to be.
Because they get bragging rights.
However, I do want to see Argentina do well because they are fun to watch. And so I'm cheering for Argentina to win. And I think I'm probably cheering for France too. I like the underdog story, but I just enjoy watching France play. And I think it will be a fun, exciting game, France versus Argentina. So
and so with the third place game, Morocco versus Croatia, I think we're predicting. Who do you think is going to win that one? That's
Croatia.
a tough game right there.
Croatia, but that one could go to penalties or anything, But I like what Esteban is saying. the way this football's World Cup has gone, the final might end up being Croatia and Morocco. And that is true.
Yep, that's true.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So we shall see. But lots of fun, two fun games coming up, Monday and Tuesday. And then when the finals are Saturday, our third place game is on Saturday at 10 a.m. on December 17th, and then Sunday 10 a.m. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week.
Sunday's going to be a great show for us, and we'll definitely talk about all the games that were played, and we'll talk about the final and wrap up this this World Cup. Wish we could have done a few more shows, but we just couldn't get around to it. But we'll definitely looking forward to the end of this World Cup to see who wins, and more Inter Miami coverage, because there's going to be as soon as this World Cup is over, there's going to be tons of talk, tons of things that are going to be happening with Major League Soccer, and we're going to be definitely on top of that.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. You're getting a lot of love in the chat room. People are happy that you're back. It's boring, and when it's just me, they got to listen to me.
No, never.
So it's
never
boring. It's boring. It's more fun when we're together. But
the chicken that disappears almost.
Yeah. I don't know why that happens. Chickens are they allowed in Qatar?
I have no idea. Us live over here in Qatar is kind of crazy.
Been a wild time here in Qatar. Anyways,
we got all sorts of pigs over here.
Please remember to go to Caneswear. Go to caneswear.com if you can't get to the store. Massive sales next week. 50% off on a lot of merchandise. Most important thing, follow them on social media so you get all the updates. Follow us as well, because when I find out, I'll tweet it out. Ed will tweet it out, what have you. We'll promote it. We got to get more people in Caneswear. Caneswear is actually expanding early next year. They're going to in the same plaza, but just a few bays down, more than a few, but they're going to have a larger storefront where they can have even more Inter Miami stuff there, because at times, depending on the season, things get moved around. So it's like if it's the Panther season, the Inter Miami stuff might be relegated to a smaller section, but in the newer store, they're going to have much more space, and it's going to be a great shopping experience. So go to Caneswear. You want to support us, support them. And so thank you to you guys in the chat. It's been a lot of fun having you guys here with us live. It's always more fun with you. You guys make the show fun to talk about. So see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody.